Smash that limiter!
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the podcast. So, there's gonna be a bit of a delay in responding. If anyone ends up coming online and coming into the chat, there will be a delay in responding as OBS updated and it has deleted my chat and alerts. So I still have access to all the scenes and shit, but I have no access to the chats and the alert. So I will have to rely on my Twitch stream, which obviously is a couple of minutes delay. Just FYI, I might be slow in responding to that. I could not get it to work while I was waiting for the show to start because it has completely just stuffed everything up and I couldn't get it to pop out on Twitch to get the URL and all that sort of stuff. It just was not working. Don't know why, but anyway, it doesn't matter. Shit happens, I guess. But yeah. It is working. Like, everything's working. It's just on the chat bar on OBS it's just missing. So pretty much just all I see is like the live footage of the webcam, your GIF. I can still see the chats like in the left there, but I can't like type anything on OBS or anything like that. So I asked, I did some troubleshooting, but for some reason it's just not playing ball today. So it's been a while since we've been on, hasn't it? Yeah. Yeah, it's been action pack. I've last weekend, no, was it last weekend or the week before? Weekend before, we ended up heading out to the closest major town, which is 4 hours drive. So 8 hours in total there and back, plus, going over there and do all the shopping and stuff. Did our Christmas shopping, getting ready for my family to come up and visit us. What else has been going on? Well, some pretty crazy stuff's happening in my life. So, I guess I can announce it, but basically I'm getting married next year. So that's going to be pretty cool. What else? CFS has been, I've had a few call outs since then. There was one the other day. We had like got to like 43 degrees, really hot, dry, windy day. And then suddenly it just rained and turned into a storm. And it's pretty sketchy, man. We were driving at like 100 k's an hour on a very narrow road, trying to find fire, literally trying to find a fire. I couldn't even see from me to the screen right in front of the truck. Like it was bad. The dust was just shockingly bad. We ended up having to stop a couple of times because it was just too dangerous when you're traveling at like 100 k's on a dirt road, trying to find a grass fire. Yeah, it got pretty hairy. And then it turned out it was a combination of dust, rain, and the sun, because it was lit light in the afternoon. This was like at 7 o'clock at night. Kind of gave this illusion of like plume everywhere, like fires everywhere, because there was lightning everywhere as well. So we were like chasing dust clouds pretty much, thinking it was fire, but it wasn't. So we ended up realizing that was it, but there was 8 trucks in total called out, I think. So there was my brigade. We had 3 trucks with 3 crew on board on each truck, and then there was 1 truck for each rural region as well. And then we also had a bulk water carrier coming out as well. So it was pretty nuts, actually. But luckily, there was no fires, so that's what you want. But yeah, it's just been nuts. And like work's gone nuts too with Christmas. Everyone's traveling through the town, so there's a lot of breakdowns, a lot of people blowing up motors, that sort of thing. So it's been, yeah. Yeah, we shut off. Yeah, we shut off. We shut off on the 20th and come back on the 7th. So yeah. Well, the good thing about it as well, like the way it works, we only have to use 3 or 4 days of annual leave out of those 2 weeks, so it's fucking sick. Yeah, so So yeah, I'm looking forward to that, and obviously I'm looking forward to my family coming out here and showing them around and stuff like that, and I've been planning the wedding and all that sort of stuff as well. So it's been nuts. It's a new chapter in my life that I'm actually like really looking forward to. It's been good. Yeah. So yeah, lots happened. Definitely. What about yourself? Because you've been the busy one to be able to do the podcast. Yeah. What do you mean you're not? Oh yeah, you're not, are you? Oh fuck's sake! Hang on, stupid thing. You should be coming through now. Give it a go. Nah. What the fuck is going on? Talk now.
OBS.
There we go.
Hello?
Every time you update OBS, it's been up shit creek.
There's no way of having like some sort of screenshot so you can like just
Well, it was on my screen. It was coming through.
yeah.
So like when you were talking, it was registering, but obviously it wasn't actually recording it.
Oh,
So
okay.
what I literally did is I just changed it. Like, you know when you change the setting and then you change it back?
Yes.
And like sometimes
Yeah.
the audio, like on your computer, it stuffs up. Like say your chat is hooked up for Arctis game chat, right?
Yeah.
And it works and you're on the right setting. But then if you go that to then go back to default and then go back, it suddenly works again. That's pretty much what it just did then.
Oh, right. So you actually yeah, we have the same sort of problem with a lot of our venues. Like a lot of the
Yeah.
time you'll plug in your HDMI,
Yeah.
but for some reason it won't hot swap like it should. There's a what's it called? What is it called? It's essentially with V. You know, you remember VGA.
Yeah. Of course I
So
do.
the main difference between VGA and HDMI is that HDMI you can just plug in, and then
Yeah.
the HDMI cable will just be able to display onto it because there's a
Yeah.
EDID. So there's this protocol called EDID, which essentially is like, hey, the whatever it's connecting to, like a screen, it has to send to the transmitter.
Yeah.
It has to send whatever the HDMI cable is connecting the display to. It's EDID is freaking weird because it works backwards in a weird way. Instead of like the DVD player sending information to the screen,
Yeah.
the screen sends information to the DVD player, and then the DVD player outputs the correct resolution via the HDMI cable. Now, HDMI has this really neat protocol called EDID, which allows you to hot swap HDMI cables, so that way you don't have to turn your DVD player off and then back on again like you did with VGA, because VGA it was all calculated, it all counted.
Yeah.
Once you reach a certain time limit on the left to right value, it would jump down one value to complete its rastering, and that's how VGA would work. But HDMI is
Okay.
completely different. Anyway, I digress. So we're talking about work. So yeah, that's right. So it's a very similar situation to how some of our venues work. Sometimes you have to plug in HDMI and then switch from VGA back to HDMI for it to recognize it for some reason.
Yeah.
I guess there's something blocking the EDID for whatever reason. Regardless, I'm just glad. Good thing it's working now. But yeah, work has been absolutely crazy. You got 2 weeks left. You got this week and then next week, and then we break away for Christmas break, which is a nice 3 week break, which I'm really glad. And then when we get back to it next year on the 6th, yeah, just more work than time
Yeah.
for what I have. As
Yeah.
always.
That's what the same thing here. We're trying to get everything done before we close off. So
Yeah, because
because
then you
otherwise they're
come
gonna be
back
stuck.
to a you come back refreshed and
Yeah,
and a
and
clean
everything's
warehouse and you're ready to
exactly.
go again.
Yeah,
And
everything. The
it's great.
workshop's
It's
done. It's clean. It's all that stuff.
yeah.
Don't have to stress. Because I need to service my car as well, and I realized
Oh
that
yeah.
my parkers, my right hand front parkers are blown as well, so I need to place the globes on that. But I
All right.
was gonna do it last weekend, but it was just too hot and too shitty, and I was just not very in the mood for it, so I didn't bother.
Fair enough.
But yeah, I definitely would like to have all the jobs currently got done and dusted and people on their way, because otherwise it's going to get to the stage where we just be like, listen, we close off for this time period. No, we're not going to come back to work for you because we want our lives.
Yeah, because it's like it's
yeah.
it's either a choice of you come back in 2 weeks' time or
Yeah.
we don't come back at all.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? Because like I honestly, capitalism's great. One of the great things is that I don't have to do this job if I don't friggin' want to, and then
Yeah.
you're stuffed, right?
Exactly.
So hell, let's agree to disagree.
Yeah.
You have a problem for 2 more weeks. I get to have a life.
Yeah, that's it. So we would just tell them that there's only one other option, which is booked out for like 3 weeks anyway. So
Yeah.
So unfortunately, if you get stuck in our town, you are going to be spending Christmas here, and it is a very beautiful place to spend Christmas. And shit happens. There's nothing can be done about it.
It's a great way to get stories, right? It's like
It is. Yeah.
well, I
Yeah.
was stranded in a location and I kind
Yeah.
of didn't have a choice other than to just chill out there for a couple of weeks.
Like, you know, our family and that has had breakdowns along here as well in the middle of nowhere with no help. So, you know, it does make some great stories and some memories and adventures. And I tell you what, next time it makes you really prevent it from happening again.
Oh yeah, you get a lot. You get
most things are preventable.
yeah,
but
it's just keep it. It's literally just like, as simple as just looking over the car every couple of weeks.
It's not even that. It's knowing what your car is capable of. Majority of the issues that we get is just people making their car do things they're not designed for. I'm sorry, but your small 4-cylinder four-wheel drive is not designed for towing. It is.
Oh, really? Do
designed for
people do
towing.
that?
Well, yeah, people are towing like oversized caravans all the time, and then wondering why there's things going wrong. But,
Yeah,
you know, it's like, don't get me wrong, like you can tow with it, but if you're towing every day 24/7 and you're traveling around the country and you have a small light vehicle towing over 3-ton caravan, you're not going to get the longevity or the reliability out of that car versus buying a large 300, 200 series Land Cruiser or a large patrol, a larger vehicle designed for towing that can handle the weight that you're towing with. And no, Ford Rangers are not fucking great at towing. They advertise them as they are, and they tow really well in the beginning, but they do blow up. So they're just, I don't know, they're designed for, like, you know, when you go on a family trip. That's what they're designed for. Like
light duties.
Yeah, like you.
Think
Every so many months you go on a holiday and tow the caravan to. That's fine, but not these people traveling around the country, traveling exorbitant distances in a car and expecting it to last. Like, it's not going to happen. There's a reason why, like, when you do servicing, you've got like normal conditions in servicing. So say, for example, like the manufacturer says to service a car every 15,000 or every 12 months, but then you have extreme conditions, which is sometimes it can go right down to 5,000 kilometers and every 6 months. Usually it's 6 months. I would say if you're towing 24/7 and you got one of these light vehicles, so like a 4-cylinder Ford Ranger, a Nissan Navara, which I wouldn't recommend towing in any Nissan Navara to begin with. They're just not good at it. Colorado or any of them. I would service them at least every 6 months to 10,000 kilometers minimum.
Minimum or maximum?
Minimum. Like I wouldn't. Well, actually, maximum. Say maximum. I wouldn't go over that.
Yeah,
But yeah, and then once you hit 150,000 Ks, replace your injectors. It's expensive, but at least will protect your motor from being blown up. So, yeah, those two things. Always make sure you got coolant, sup level, like every day. Every day, check your oil. Every day, check your coolant. That sort of things. Do that, and your car will last you a lot longer. But even then, we've had some people that they do all that service their car over 10,000 Ks, that just check every day, and unfortunately the longevity of towing, like this vehicle spent probably, I think he said it spent a maximum of probably 5,000 Ks not towing its life, and it's done like
Whoa.
200 and something thousand kilometers or something like that.
Wow.
And yeah, the engine blew up on it. And it wasn't his fault. He even changed the injectors in the right amount of time. It was just because he was towing this Colorado its whole life, and it just blew up. That sort of situation can just happen. It's just over time, the wear and tear on the motor, and then something gives out, and you can't predict that. But it's my point. Is like if you're gonna be towing long term, you've already spent like probably $100,000 on a caravan. You're better off buying a big American pickup truck as a towing rig. If you're gonna tow your whole life around Australia, and you have a large caravan that is your house, honestly, investing in a big American pickup truck is the best thing you can do, because you just buy it and you're good to go. That's it. They can handle it. They are literally designed to be in buses, prime movers. They are truck motors, like your big fucking Kenworth driving down the road. The motors out of those big American pickup trucks can run those trucks. That's what they're designed for doing. They're designed for hauling and towing. They are big American, and they're not even gas guzzlers anymore. Like, they're honestly, that if you're gonna do that your whole life, invest in something like that. Yes, it's expensive, but so is replacing an engine in a car. So you
Buy
gotta
it
weigh
nice
up your
or
options.
buy it twice.
And like, they're not too hard to work on in terms of servicing, and parts are now a lot more readily available, especially since we're selling them more often here in the country. There's certain brands I wouldn't touch. Like, I wouldn't buy a Dodge. Don't buy a Dodge Ram.
Yeah.
They have so many issues, plus parts issues, and they do blow up a lot. Especially their C4 pumps, C5 pumps. I can't remember. They basically have an issue with their injection pump where it will deteriorate inside and send metal through your fuel system, blowing up your motor. And they still haven't fixed that, and it's been like that for quite a few years. So they're not the only ones as well. Like the Ford F-150s the Ford F-250s have that issue, and this is in the diesels, not the petrols. And so do the Silverado 1500s have the same issue as well. And it's a simple solution. You just get this blocking kit that will basically prevent the material when it goes, and it will go through your fuel system. It's just a little plate. You just put it in, and it prevents that from happening. So when it does let go, it doesn't destroy your whole motor and injection system. So yeah, so like everything, there's always cons and pros with everything. But I just highly recommend, if you're towing long distance for long periods of time, definitely get a vehicle designed for it. Yeah, not just like go off on a holiday every so many months, once a year or something like that. If you're doing that, then yeah, it's a waste of money. But yeah, it's just so much misinformation out there. That's the problem. So much, and car manufacturers are the worst at fucking spreading it. But yeah. But have you seen this post going around, Spliffy?
No, which post?
So they're Australians, and they're like a YouTube channel, like Instagram, all that sort of stuff, like traveling channel.
Yeah.
and I'm going to outright and say this. I'm not going to mention names, but they're the biggest fucking idiots I've ever seen online. Like they're
Like, good idiots or bad idiots?
stupid idiots, like bad idiots, dumbasses.
Oh, okay.
So they bought this 300 series Land Cruiser, right? And they bought it with the intention of exactly what I said, towing.
Yeah.
Which they are good at towing. You know, they're all right. And then they highly modified it by chopping it to convert it into a ute. And 300 series Land Cruisers, I don't know if you know Spliffy, but they're station wagons.
Right.
So they're, you know, conventional full drive, you know, the back and all that. But anyway, they chopped it so then they can turn it to a wagon. Then they also modified the motor by tuning it. And they must have got someone who didn't know what they were doing with tuning because it blew up.
That's always great.
Yeah.
Why do people do that? Like, let's just get someone who doesn't know what they're doing, so that way it's just gonna make out.
If you buy a 300, there's a reason why like manufacturers do what they do. And generally speaking, if you leave a car as stock as possible, it will probably last you longer than you'd think. Yes, modern diesels, you have to clean the intake manifold and all that sort of shit. And you have EGR and DPF issues and all that sort of stuff. And if you don't do something about your injectors when they get older, there's a lot of flow-on effects happen. EGR starts clogging, DPF starts clogging. Like the list is endless. There's a lot of maintenance, a lot of issues with modern cars, purely around the emission side of things. But anyway, regardless, but as soon as you start modifying things start going wrong. And when you get a person, now 300 series haven't been around that long, so there's not that many places that really know what they're doing when it comes to tuning them, because they're a V6 turbo motor. They're not a big motor, but you know, they're really complicated. There's a lot of things on them. And we've had a 300 series that my boss, like, he had to work on it and he pulled it apart and it was fucked. Like, there is so much on that motor, it's ridiculous. And to get to the pump, you have to take the whole motor apart to get in the valley where the pump sits. It's a whole thing. Anyway, so their car blew up. And then they're whinging and carrying on that Toyota won't honor the warranty. It's like, dumb fuck. You chopped your car when you bought it, which voids warranty anyway. You're literally...
Yeah, that's oh my god.
The 300 series Land Cruiser is a unibody chassis, which means that the whole body is the chassis, essentially. It's a unibody.
Yeah.
It doesn't sit on a ladder chassis like most of your utes and your light passenger 4x4s, you know, like your Ford Rangers and all that. They usually sit on a chassis, a ladder chassis, which the body just bolts onto. Where a lot of your Toyota Prados and your Land Cruisers, they are a unibody. Like I'm talking about 200 series, 300 series, 100 series. They're a unibody design where it's all one piece. I think 100 series is still on a ladder chassis. I can't remember. Could be wrong in that one. But anyway, point is unibody. So you're literally changing the structural integrity of the body through your modification. You are. To put the tray on it. Which voids warranty anyway. That's a very big modification, which will automatically void the warranty. I don't care what you say, but it does. It literally says that you can't modify this vehicle, otherwise it could potentially void the warranty. Even fitting a catch can void your fucking warranty. It's a bit dodgy, but that's just what you have to deal with. It's your choice whether you want to void the warranty or not. If you want to keep it stock, you could probably, you can put like a suspension lift on there and all that sort of stuff without voiding the warranty. There are a lot of leeway that they do give you, but essentially they went the extreme. And then they fucked with the motor in its tune, which automatically voids the warranty anyway. As soon as you do anything in that ECU, disable emissions, put more power, you name it, as soon as you start doing that, you void warranty because there's a risk. Every time you do this, there is a potential risk of causing long-term damage that you don't see at the beginning or something going wrong. That's why a lot of really good tuners will have like a factory setting that you click a button and it automatically goes back to factory. If anything goes wrong, You can go straight back to factory so you don't cause any further damage. Then they stop, reassess, look at things, all that sort of stuff. Obviously, I don't know how their setup was done, but my point is they're now jumping up and down, carrying on, saying Toyota's the bad company because they won't honour the warranty of their fucking stupidity. It's like...
Yeah, Toyota's a good company brand. They make really good, reliable cars. I mean, you're not really going to beat them.
No, well, it's your fault. You know?
That too, because it's like, if you do anything that, is like, even like I'm pretty sure even if you put like a dent on your car that's not covered by warranty, it's literally whatever defect came out of the factory is covered by warranty.
Yeah.
Literally everything else is not.
If you pick up a car from factory and you drive down the road and so the gearbox fails, that's covered on warranty. But as soon as you start, I don't know, playing with that gearbox to make it change fast or something like that, and then they say, no, you're not going to cover it. Of course they're not going to cover it because you were messing with it.
Yeah. Also, Toyota would run out of money really quickly if they ended up doing that because because their cars are like, they'd be bleeding money.
Yeah, their cars are literally like the number one modified car out of the major ones, really. They're always heavily modified straight off the bat. But I don't know. And then another thing as well, like, okay, so they chopped their vehicle to put a tray on it, a big tray. It was a full tray, full canopy, all that. Do they not also realize, even though they would have done their GVM upgrade, say for example, you do a GVM upgrade to allow you wouldn't be allowed to tow 4-ton, period. Legal reasons, you have to have a truck license to be able to do that anyway.
Yeah.
So say for example, your GVM upgrade to make it like 3,600 kilos or 750, something like that, right? GVM upgrade to legally.
What does GVM stand for?
Fuck, it's a legal term. Hang on. I used to know the acronym, but I can't remember it anymore.
Because I've always found abbreviations.
Gross vehicle mass.
So there we go. Yeah.
So the gross vehicle mass is basically the vehicle on its own minus the passengers, a full tank of fuel. It's the maximum rate that vehicle can basically be at. So when you do a GVM upgrade, usually it involves heavy duty suspension. It can involve some, to certain extents, like some vehicles have a bit of a weaker chassis. It also can involve strengthening that chassis to be able to deal with the weight and putting airbags. There's a lot of little different things that they can do. And say, for example, your GVM is 3,000 kilos. And then a GVM upgrade makes it to 3,500 kilos. That's essentially, and legally, you're legally allowed to tow that amount, essentially. Can't go 4-ton unless you change it. So you can't go 4-ton and above unless you change the licensing to a light truck licensing, which means you have to have a truck license. Because legally, the gross rate of any vehicle that is 4-ton and over, so that also includes carrying a load, is in the truck category. And forklifts are in that category as well. So if you have a forklift license and you don't have a truck license, you're legally not allowed to drive on the road because the forklift exceeds over that 4-ton rate.
That's all right, boss. I'm just going out for a spin.
Which you can get done for that. So you can, on the property, you can drive it around. You have a forklift license. You're allowed to operate it, but when you're driving on the road, it is classed as a truck. So you can't get done for that.
Sorry, that's
yeah. A lot of people don't know that.
But it's like you wouldn't even think it, right? Because hey,
Yeah.
check out
But
my
they
truck.
are fucking
Rear wheel steering.
they are fucking heavy, you know, like especially with the weight
Yeah,
on
yeah,
it.
they
Yeah.
are. They kind of have to be because
Yeah.
I mean, I reckon most of the weight of a forklift is just a counterweight, so it can lift
It is,
heavy
yeah,
things.
yeah, it is. I mean, like if you have a 1500 capacity on your forklift, you would have to have a the counterweight would have to be well over that, so then that way you don't topple over. Like
Well, at least that much.
I've lifted a so in my old job I lifted a we had a prison door delivered to the warehouse.
Oh yeah.
And the maximum capacity of the forklift was 1800. It was a Mitsubishi 18, which is 1.8 ton carrying capacity. And this door weighed, I think from memory, it weighed like 4 ton.
What for a
Yeah,
prison door? Is this a main entrance or just a jail cell?
it was the whole fucking thing.
No, I mean like, is it the
It
main
was
entrance door?
it was the frame and fucking door, you name it. It was the whole thing. Yeah.
Oh wow.
It was like a I can't remember what prison. I think it was going to a New South Wales prison. It was probably going near your neck of the woods actually. It was an electronic, so it had mag locks and everything on it. It was a solid steel door rated for high explosives. So basically, you couldn't put C4 and breach it. It wouldn't work. It would just do nothing. It was probably about that thick of high tensile steel.
Oh wow.
It was yeah.
What are they
like
what are they
4 ton.
worried about the prisoners sneaking a fucking bazooka into prison or something?
Most prison doors and locks are rated for explosives. Yeah, so then that way someone can't break in or break them out. Yeah. Yeah, their door locks are rated for explosives as well. They literally test them with C4 to make sure that they can handle it. Yeah, but they don't stop super glue, so you know there's that.
They don't stop super. I'm sorry. What?
Yeah. Prisoners really love to fucking shove super glue in them, so then that way it fucks the lock up, and then that way the prison guards can't open.
Oh my fucking god!
It happens a lot. The locksmith, some old job, used to have to always get caught out of prisons because the fucking prisoners put super glue in the door lock. So then they're fucking $1,800 later for a fucking lock, like
Oh wow!
$3,000
Holy
for
crap!
a lock. Yeah.
You don't need the super glue to break out of prison. You just sent the prison broke, and then you get out of prison.
Oh, they just fucking troll them. That's what they do.
Oh, dude, that's actually hilarious. I'm not gonna lie.
It's pretty funny.
Could you imagine if the prison guy like having your old work on speed dial? So then like they you get a phone call, you pick up, and you immediately get it's me again.
Yeah,
They've done it again.
but
Can you be here in 20 minutes?
but anyway, so what was happening? It was that heavy that when I was like trying to pick, and it was wide too, like it was as wide as a truck, like a heavy rigid truck, so it was the full length of the truck. And and I go in with the fork and I open the twines as maximum, and I'm just like, I'm not going to be able to take this out, eh? And so I go in with the forklift, and as I start lifting up, the forklift starts going forward, and the door's not moving. Like
no.
it's that fucking heavy, and I'm just like, yeah, I knew this was going to be like that. So I asked our neighbors that had a high reach truck. You know those ones you sit on the side.
Yeah.
They had one of theirs, and that was rated for 5 tons. So they picked the door up with that for me, and then I said to my boss at the time, I said, hey, I don't know why you guys got this delivered here, but this needs to leave like today because we can't bring it in the. It's either going to be leaving today or it's going to be sitting outside overnight, because we cannot get it physically in the door of the warehouse because it's wider than the fucking door.
Who thought this was a good idea? Just have this sent to your warehouse.
I think it wasn't meant to be like that, but the supplier, being their great single-minded, decided to do it that way. But anyway, I got it out the next day, that same day anyway. I called up and organised a shipping company to quickly pick it up, and it was sent that that afternoon. But I basically
Nice.
had to have help with it with the next door neighbors because I couldn't physically lift it. So,
Yeah.
but this goes back to my point is like, so people put a GVM upgrade, right? And they chop their car like these people did with the 300 series Land Cruiser. And then they add all this extra fucking weight to it, which it didn't have from factory. So you know what that does? That means that GVM upgrade that you just fucking spent all that money on, null and void. Because you just
Oh,
added this
wow.
extra weight. Because, okay, so say you have 3,500 kilos, right? And then that's how much your GVM upgrade. But then you've gone and added, say, 500 kilos of accessories, drawers, canopy, tray. So that 3,500 GVM upgrade that you've just done is back down to 3 ton, which means no, you cannot tow a 3.5 ton caravan because you can only tow a 3 ton caravan now because your GVM upgrade was just for your accessories. That's where people don't understand.
Yeah, because your trailer can't be heavier than your van, otherwise, not your van, your car. Otherwise,
It cannot
it
be heavier
fucks.
than it can't be heavier
It
than the GVM.
Yeah,
Otherwise it causes it's a legal reason and it can cause issues, wear and tear. Now you can upgrade a lot of different things like your brake lines and all that sort of stuff to sort of help with all that stuff, bigger brakes, all that shit. And it also increases more wear and tear on your motor because now you've increased the weight of your car, and then you also increase the weight with towing. And majority of people like load the hell out of their caravans as well. So it's yeah, people just don't think about this shit, and unfortunately, no, it's really not up to Toyota or the caravan manufacturers to tell you this stuff because you really need to research this stuff before you go ahead and do it. That's why, like, if I was to buy a caravan, I'm going to buy a small pop top because I don't need a fucking massive semi-sized bloody caravan. Like, I don't need a 3.5 ton caravan or a 3 ton caravan. It's just silly. Don't need it. I'd rather just go with the fucking swag, to be honest.
yeah, that's true.
It's just easy,
And generally, if
yeah.
you drive somewhere, you're gonna drive to a town, and towns usually have food in them.
Yeah, exactly. So
and toilets too.
Because I see it every day. Every day I see the main street like a Toyota Prado. And they're not a big car towing like a caravan that is ideal for like a 300 series Land Cruiser to tow. Or I see it all the time, and like it was working for them. That's great, but unfortunately, later down the line, things will go wrong. So it's just people just need to do their research, but that's all right. You live and you learn. That's the way I look at it.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So
Yeah.
I don't know if I can talk about good things or not.
Nah, you can talk about great things.
I can talk about great things. Excellent. Yeah. So I went and saw last night.
Yeah.
I went and saw. I went to a music festival.
Yeah.
And I was listening to what was it? A couple of bands I wasn't familiar with. There was one band named Powerfly, another band named Replica. Those are the two bands I wasn't familiar with.
Were they any good?
But then I also came across I hadn't downloaded the timesheet or the timetable for all the bands. So I just happened across Slayer. I was just
really?
walking. I was walking. Down to the medium sized stages.
Yeah.
And I have to talk about how the setup, because the setup was just genius. Yeah. Whoever came up with how they were going to set it up is just awesome. So I just was walking down, and I'm looking at the guitarist of this one band. I'm thinking that looks awfully like. I learned that last night. His name is Kerry King. Yeah. So I was looking at this guitarist, and I'm thinking that looks awfully like the guitarist from Slayer because of the bald head, tattoo on the back of his head, and the way he plays guitar. He always plays guitar like he doesn't have a freaking strap on,
Yeah.
and he's like losing grip on the guitar. It's it's really fun actually to watch. And it took me a few seconds, then I realized, Spliffy, you're an idiot. That's a guitarist from Slayer, because that is Slayer that's currently playing. Uh, anyway, so I was listening to them play, and then they were playing a whole bunch of songs, which the energy that Slayer has when they play is incredible.
Yeah.
Even though they're probably close to their 60s, if not in their mid 60s at this point. Um, and they play. I actually got to see them play Raining Blood for the first time live. Weirdly enough, I noticed they actually sound better live than they do on a recorded album. It was
Oh,
one of the
really?
very few bands that actually do that. It's really bizarre. I've never come across that before. Because usually everyone's like,
Yeah.
everything has to be recorded perfectly, and then it's just never as good as the record ever again. It kind of sucks when
Yeah.
that happens.
Yeah, live. I struggle with live sometimes because it's really dependent on the venue and all the equipment as well. Because like I've come across some concerts where, like stopping at all stations and Wolf Mother, and they sounded terrible because the system wasn't set up that great. So like you couldn't hear much, and it was all
Oh,
like,
that
yeah, it
sucks.
sucks when things like that go wrong. Because yeah, like you couldn't hear the percussionists, you couldn't hear the bass, you couldn't hear the
Oh.
guitar, you couldn't hear the singer. It was just all like a melded mess. But then when the big name AC/DC came out, you could hear them fine. But it's just
Oh.
obviously fucking they fucked that up.
Yeah, someone done fucked up essentially.
Yeah, it was
Um,
kind of shit really. For them. But that would have been
yeah.
cool. That would have been cool because even Corn, it would have been cool to see Corn. I'm surprised they're
I
still
no,
bloody.
I was about to get to that. I actually watched Korn last
Yeah,
night too.
yeah.
So
Well,
they were the last major act, but I'll let you finish your what you're about to say, and then I'll talk about
I
Korn.
was just saying that some of my friends went and saw Corn. They loved it. So
Oh yeah, Korn was fucking incredible.
yeah,
The energy, look, because Korn was the last major act. I reckon I must have been surrounded by at least 10 to 15,000 people.
oh
It
wow,
was
really?
just it was unbelievable.
Wow.
Um, and now I have to talk about the setup. The
Yeah,
setup was just genius.
yeah,
So together individually, there are 5 stages.
yeah,
So there's the big stage, the two really big stages, where all like the big headliners play, and they're right next to each other. The way
yeah,
they actually said, and then there are and then there's this two slightly smaller stages than that,
yeah,
and then or to the left hand side of the big stage. But then if you look to the right hand side, you have one small stage for like the people who probably can't afford a 15,000, or they can't really put enough money for I don't know, a $200,000 stage.
yeah,
Um, and so the way they set it up, which was just genius, is that, say for example, the first band come up on the big stage or the medium stage would they start on the left hand side of the stage,
yeah,
or the left hand side stage, and then when they would finish their set, they get off the next band would start getting onto the right hand side of the stage, right hand side stage, and as the first band is getting off the left hand side stage, and then the second band would play their set. But what made it really genius was that both stages had their own both stages had their own my
I had to share
sorry.
that. I had to share that.
Sorry.
That
That's
was
just
so funny.
sorry.
I'll show
So
the audience that. Keep going, keep going, keep going.
yeah, no worries then. So both the left-hand side stage and the right-hand side stage had their own line array PA setup. But because there was only one band on at a time, the one band would have both stages PA used. So essentially, you had, instead of it being just 2 rows of speakers and some subs to basically get the sound out there, what they ended up having was 6 lines or 6 rows of loudspeakers
Yeah.
and 2 stages worth of subs, which means that no matter where you were standing, so long as you were in front of the 2 big stages, you could hear your favorite band. You
Yeah.
could hear like loud and clearly. It was amazing. And it was a very similar situation to the it was a basically identical situation to the slightly smaller stages where, they'd alternate between the 2 stages, but they'd use both PA systems for any one of the stages that are on any one of the bands that are on the stage. It's just absolutely incredible way of managing it and still being able to get that performance out of there.
Yeah.
The smallest stage only had one, so it was your traditional band gets off 5 minutes, 5 to 10 minutes later. Next band gets up, they play their set, but it worked realistically. But yeah, I had a hell of a time. And when Korn had their set, and it was, I think they started, I think about 9 o'clock. I think it was when they started. Yeah, it was about no, I can't remember if it was 9 o'clock or 8:30. I don't remember. But essentially, they started late at night, and they kept going until about quarter to 10 at night.
Yeah.
They went for about an hour and a half, but it was incredible. And what was it? The PA, I reckon the whoever was running that show asked Korn, so how loud do you want it to be?
Yeah.
And then I reckon Korn said, yes. Because it was fucking loud, right? I
Yeah.
probably would have been 350 to 400 meters away from the main PA. I was at the first set of delays, and I could, like, the subs were vibrating the air around me. The subs were vibrating my clothes and vibrating the hairs on my arms, and my eyeballs were vibrating too. It was nuts.
Yeah.
And it was so loud. And oh man, uh they played a lot of, like, basically all their great songs. They started off with Got the Life,
Yeah. Yeah.
and then they finished their set, but of course they had to have an encore.
Yeah.
So so they got it back onto their encore, and they played 3 more songs, the last one being Freak on a Leash. And I'll tell
Yeah.
you, everyone went fucking ballistic. Like, even I went fucking crazy during the breakdown of Freak on a Leash. It was just an incredible time. There was just so much raw energy involved, and I
Yeah.
would highly recommend.
Yeah. The videos and that I've seen, it was pretty crazy here.
Oh yeah,
But yeah, I haven't been to a concert like that in a long time.
I recommend you go soon.
Yeah.
Go take Ray to one.
It's a little hard to go to them these days.
Why is that?
Because it's just how how expensive it is. Plus, also like trying to get someone to look after the dog. So, yeah,
Yeah, right.
yeah, it is what it is. But it's alright. We'll go to one day, or even just Ray goes on her own. But yeah, I haven't been to a concert in a long time now. But they are a blast though, because everyone just gets an energy and then it just move. Like, you can't help but just move to the music. It's not like you have a choice; it just sort of moves you.
Yeah,
so it's a lot of fun to just fucking especially like if you were to go to a rock concert like that, you're just jumping up and down, screaming, singing.
yeah.
A
I
lot
was
of
I was
fun.
running around all over the place, and then when we left,
Yeah.
I think I had so much energy. I think I sprinted for probably about 500 meters.
Were you drunk
And
at least, or
no, I had only had 2 beers, so I
two
wasn't
beers?
drunk. And
Yeah,
they were
so
really crap beers. They were
oh really?
overpriced
Yeah,
and really
fucking.
shit.
That's why everyone sneaks alcohol into the concerts
Yeah.
because it's just it's so expensive.
They are, and they're not even that good.
Yeah.
But yeah, my legs, I couldn't fucking move my
Yeah.
legs this morning.
I bet.
And yeah, so also Good Things has
Yeah.
this thing called Kill Your Pop Stars,
Oh
which
yeah.
essentially is, instead of having a karaoke machine, you
Yeah.
have a live band and you just go up there and you just sing a song, and then the live band will, it's like a cover band and you
Yeah.
just get to be the singer.
Oh,
So I
that's
think I
cool.
might do that next year because that seems like a lot of fun.
Yeah, that does seem like a lot of fun. Yeah. Yeah, it's just it's as this time of the year comes up, it just starts getting more and more busy and whatnot. It's pretty good. It's funny.
Ironically enough,
Yeah. Because we had Ray's work function last Friday.
uh,
Christmas show, so that was interesting.
oh yeah,
Yeah, because
so
I
that
got in,
is
and like, because a lot of the people obviously, Ray works with, I play sport with, like a lot of the guys, they were my
yeah,
footy team, and they were like, oh, we haven't fucking seen you in ages. I'm like, yeah, I've been
yeah.
busy and all that sort of stuff. And they're like, you coming to training because they've started preseason training? I said, it's December, and they're like, yeah. I'm like, fuck you, I'm not going to fucking training preseason December. Next year I'll come, but no, fuck that. Like, I don't care that much about football. Like, I'm not that into it. Like,
Yeah, right. Fair enough.
yeah, just yeah.
Oh,
Just
what's it? Is Ray
sad.
all done for the year now?
Next week's the last week. Yeah,
Oh yeah,
and she's done until school starts back up. So
yeah. Nice.
yeah, so it'll be good. She gets to chill the fuck out and just
Yeah.
relax. Yeah,
No good.
yeah. So
I'll
it's all
definitely be.
it's all happening.
Yeah, I'll definitely be working on stuff when I'm or during the break.
I don't know what I'm gonna be doing. We were planning on buying like an old cabinet type thing and doing it up as Nagini's new snake tank.
Oh yeah.
Because she's a bit, the tank, like you can see it here because it's in my office. You can see it there. Like it's perfectly fine for her size. She's a 7-foot snake. Um, but I don't know, it would be nice to have a bigger tank for her. And I don't like the quality of that tank, to be honest. Like the top there, like up there, keeps coming
Yeah.
apart, and no matter how many times I put it back together, it just keeps coming apart, and there's got gaps in the bottom. The bottom's all glass, so then that way you can have a heat mat on it and it won't catch on fire. Um, yeah, it's just hard to find the right cabinet to be able to do it, because you want to get one that's already got a glass cover, because
Yeah.
glass is usually the most expensive thing. But I suggested that we make our own, like make a custom our own, because it's not that hard. Just a few 2x4s and then some MDF board, or marine plyboard, I should say, for the walls, and then get a glassy to cut the size of the planes that you need. The top part can just use screen, like security screen for a door.
Yeah. Does it have to be glass?
Yeah, you have to have glass. Because
Why is that?
glass is really good at holding humidity and thermoregulation, like,
Oh, okay.
and you really need that, because if you have just wood, it won't keep the heat in as well as keep the cold out.
Oh, okay.
It's
Yeah,
not
now I see.
yeah, it's just not that, because you kind of want in a vivarium, you kind of want that greenhouse effect.
Oh, okay. Yeah. No,
Yeah,
I was actually gonna go with something. I would have suggested something which would have had the complete opposite effect, which
yeah,
would have been like well, basically akin to chicken wire, but instead, like like it kind of like making prison rail, but with
yeah,
what's that plastic stuff called?
yeah. I know the one you're talking about. Yeah, I've seen some do it, but the problem is with the UV light, it gets brittle. That's another thing as well.
Oh,
With
yeah,
the
okay.
glass is the UV light as well. Because that light globe's actually shooting at UV light. It's like a artificial sun. It's not like the same globe that's in your house. It's a specialized globe that
Oh.
produces UV light because that's how they get their vitamin D. It's yeah, you gotta have vivarium's got to have a certain setup. They got to be water resistant as well because you don't want swelling. And they got to be able to hold heat as well as have airflow. Which is another big thing as well because you want the air to come freely in and out. So there's vents top and bottom on that tank. It flows really well. That's actually a really good tank for airflow. Don't have a problem with that, but yeah, the glass front door just helps with the thermoregulation, dispersing as well as keeping the heat in. And then you want the glass bottom as well, so that way you can have a heat mat because heat mats get quite warm, and if it's sitting on wood, there's a potential of it igniting the wood and catching on fire. Where the glass won't catch on fire, the glass will absorb the heat and disperse it a lot better than wood will. Wood doesn't absorb heat and disperse it like glass does.
I had no idea that snake cages were so, or snake enclosures were so complicated.
They're not complicated, but there's a lot of things you got to
I did.
think about. That's all.
Okay, let me rephrase that. I didn't realize there was so much science in a snake enclosure. I
Yeah.
kind of figured it was just a box you kept your snake in.
Well, normally you just buy a tank and put it in and forget about it. But the people who manufactured that tank think about these things. And since we're thinking of making our own custom tank, we need to think about these things.
Right.
So that's it. But we were planning on doing that over Christmas. Because yeah, she's a big snake. She's not like the biggest. She's not like an olive python or a She's not even the biggest like diamond python I've seen. Her parents are massive compared to her, but
Oh, really?
yeah. Like lengthwise, she's longer. I think she's longer than her parents. But she's not as girthy. Like her dad's and mum's head are like the size of my hand. They're fucking huge.
Wow.
Her head's like probably about that wide, about that high. So she's got a big head on her, but not her parents are bigger. But she's getting on in age too, because she's like turning 9, I think, next year. So she's not a young spring chicken anymore.
No, what's the lifespan of Nagini?
25 to 26 years.
Nice.
So they live quite a while. Yeah. If you look after them right. So, because I don't overfeed her. Like, I'm very conscious of her feeding schedule. That's probably why she's not actually as big as her parents. Because I feed her the correct amount. I don't go too much. I don't go too under.
Yeah.
I could feed her a little bit more. But a snake's perfect weight is you can quite you don't see the spine or anything like that. Like you can't see her spine. She's got enough meat on her, which is good. But a snake's perfect weight is that they can move around quite nimbly still, and not be too heavy. There's a real balance when it comes to captive snakes to keep their weight. A lot of people just overfeed them and they end up fucking huge. Like they end up like massive girthiness and they're big snakes, but their size is because they're overweight. But she's at a healthy, like if you were to come across her in the wild like that, she would be a very healthy wild snake. So she gets fed one large rat or jumbo rat depending on the season. I don't feed her too many jumbos because there's a lot of fat in them. But she'll feed, I try and sort of manage her diet to be as natural as possible. Sometimes I'll feed her 2 young adult rats. Sometimes I'll feed her 1 large rat. Sometimes I'll feed her 1 jumbo if I feel like for example, she had a jumbo yesterday, and the reason why is because she hasn't eaten in she hasn't eaten in a month and a half. She went off food for a while because basically start of spring she stopped eating. She
Is
wouldn't
there a
eat the
certain
last
point
time
in
around.
time you think, okay, there's something wrong? Like, or just it's like, nah, you
Um,
haven't eaten in 6
nah,
months. That's that. Yeah, it's
yeah,
good. You do
yeah,
you, man.
yeah. They can go without food for a whole year and be fine.
What the hell?
Yeah, yeah.
The metabolism is non-existent.
Yeah, snakes are very slow.
Yeah.
yeah, no, she's lasted 4 months before without eating. This time wasn't as long. It was when she hit puberty and started being ready to breed. She went for like four
Right.
months without food. Yeah,
Oh wow.
you can't like. It was getting to a point where I was like, am I gonna have to force her to eat? But nah, she ended up eating, and she this week she went back to wanting to eat food. But start of spring, she went off food. She stopped eating. And they usually do that because of mating season. They'll just stop eating because they're wanting a mate, and she will just be roaming and looking interested and stuff. But like to tell whether she's ready to be fed or not, if she's wanting to be fed, she'll be like, like that all over the place, trying to fucking go you.
Nah.
Where if she's not interested in food, she'll just be like interested and curious and wanting to know what you're doing and like that sort of thing, but not wanting to eat. So it took me a while to sort of learn her behaviors when she started doing this stuff, to figure out when it was actually food response and when it was just I'm looking, I'm interested in what you're doing sort of thing. Now I've gotten down to pat, so. But yeah, she ate a jumbo rat last night, and the reason why she ate a jumbo last night is because she hasn't eaten in a while. So trying to get a little bit of fat in her to sort of get her back up to her ideal weight. And then once she gets to that weight, then I'll just start giving her normal, like large adult rats, and yeah. I just really like to keep my animals healthy. That's all.
Not fair enough.
Yeah. But anyways, yeah, that was a good podcast. You probably won't hear back from us until next year, to be brutally honest.
Yeah. I'm not sure when exactly. It's probably not. I mean, I don't think I'm likely gonna be available. I'm not gonna say because I don't want to quote. I don't want anyone to quote me.
Yeah, that's fair.
Probably, early to mid January. I'm gonna say.
Yeah. Yeah, that'll be the same with me because obviously my family's over. I'll be spending time with them.
Yeah.
Because they're going to be traveling and doing all that sort of stuff. I just realized as well that they can't go forward driving in their Prado because they don't have all trains. They've only got road tires, which get fucking destroyed out here on the dirt roads.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's gonna be good. But yeah, we're gonna raid into someone new called Loser Fruit. They're in a Spider-Man cosplay outfit at the moment, playing as Spider-Man, some Marvel Heroes game. I don't know what it's called, but anyway. Marvel Rivals? Never heard of it. Anyway, it's going to be interesting. So, well, fuck you, Loser Fruit. Oh, I guess I'm not going into your fucking room.
But doesn't he allow raids or something?
No, she didn't allow it, so she can get fucked. Anyway.
Okay.
Sorry about that, people. But I just wanted to just raid into someone. Why don't people not let me raid into them? She originally only had. Oh, she's got over 1,000. Maybe she's. I don't know.
I don't know. Maybe you need a certain threshold to raid into them.
Maybe
So that way they don't get bombarded by smaller streamers. It's like, look at me.
Oh, it's so annoying because I just set it all up. It took me ages to set it all up, and then all of a sudden it's like, nah. You're not going to be allowed to. Ooh, snowflake kiwi. Yeah, I don't care about that. All right, let's try this other person. Let's try someone different. They've only got 9 viewers, so they'll probably let us raid into them. Okay, dokie. Yay! All right. Thank you, everybody.
All right, it worked. It's gonna work.
Thank
It'll
you,
do the
everybody,
thing.
for the coming and saying, coming and watching for those that did. I hope you have a good day and night, depending on the world, and we will catch you next time. Bye.
Bye.